Hey, what is up, everybody? Michael Crump back here again, talking about the latest and the greatest in PlayStation, homebrew news, and much, much more. So today I've got a jammed-packed PlayStation homebrew news episode. We're going to talk about the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5. We'll also talk a little bit about the Nintendo Switch as well as the Wii U, starting right now. Okay, so for the PlayStation 3, EvilNat has released the custom firmware for version 4.90. So if you don't know, for the PlayStation 3, 4.90 came out not too long ago, and it was really a bit of a surprise for us. Obviously, it didn't take long for EvilNat to go through it and to update his custom firmware. Obviously, it is made out of the official firmware, which was 4.90, and you can do all of the normal type of things that you were able to do in the past. So things like full PS2 game compatibility, disable one of the boot up messages, to adding an in-game screenshot, and obviously a whole lot more. You can see all of the different versions right here, and if you are looking for a more specific guide to this, then I would absolutely recommend that you check out Mr. Mario's guide on the PlayStation 3 and upgrading to this custom firmware version 4.90. Okay, so next up, we're going to shift gears to the PlayStation 4, and I wanted to remind you all that there is this great person called Starkiller91, and what they do is they build and release all kinds of PlayStation 4 dynamic themes. Now, I've mentioned them in the past, but they continually put out great releases. So here is one that has Sonic Frontiers. And obviously, this one is very close to my heart because it is the Resident Evil 4 remake PS4 dynamic theme. Really, they have so many different themes that you can take advantage of on your jailbroken PS4. I would absolutely recommend that you go and you check out their Twitter feed. Next up, I wanted to provide an update to the ESP32 S2 host. So if you have followed any of my previous guides on setting up an ESP32-S2, you may find that we did a lot of that process manual. Well, thankfully, this person right here, which I believe this may be pronounced Moo, M-O-U-U-U, I'm not sure, but they have a very excellent web installer that really all you've got to do is plug in your ESP32-S2 device to your computer, and you basically press a button and you can install this menu right here, which obviously has a couple of different versions of GoldHen, as well as Orbis Toolbox, as well as different payloads. Again, this is only a 4 megabyte chip. This is the Wemos ESP32-S2 chip, but I found this host to be extremely stable and very fast. Now, if you want a guide to this, I created this little 6-minute video right here where I'll walk you through setting it up step by step. But some of the nice new features that was added in here was they added the ability to show the temperature and then mod Red Dead Redemption 2, and then an Itemzflow by Lightning Mod's Payload, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But I would highly recommend, if you've got one of these devices and you want to get it completely up to date, I would just go ahead and use their host. Next up is a bit of an update on Itemzflow. So Lightning Mod released these 3 new themes that you can use if you're already using Itemzflow. So here is the first theme, and there is the second theme, and there is the third theme, right in time for St. Patrick's Day. And moving on to the next item, there is this open source tool called PSPSH, and this is a primitive shell server for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5 using the master core exploit in the PS2 emulator. Really, what this allows you to do is that you would be able to run these commands right here. So these commands are things like list all folders and files in the working directory. You can navigate the working directory, copy files, move files, delete files, print the working file directory, and a bunch more. It also is a bit interesting. You can pop notifications if you would like to. Now, this is a project that is still recently new, so it would be interesting to see kind of what comes out of this over the next little bit. Next up, there was an update to MasterCore's PS2 network game loader, and really the only things that was added in here was the added support for loading configuration files, improved game download speed, and to stop the trophy thread. Now, again, I did cover this in detail just a day ago, so if you want to learn a little bit more about this, as well as how to start using these emulator config files, well, I detailed that all in this video right here. Next up, another update over here from Lightning Mods. That is, the Itemzflow launcher payload includes GoldHen is now available for 5.05 and 9.00. So basically what you get with this is that you have one payload, and after that payload runs, not only do you get GoldHen, but it automatically launches Itemzflow. If you want to do something like that, it's really, really easy now. And again, if you are looking for some detailed information on how to do that, I have a 5-minute video right over here that you can check out. Now, I can't leave the PlayStation 4 without at least talking about the update 10.50. So the very latest system software 10.50 was released right here on March the 8th, 2023. And pretty much as expected, we can see just a few minor things that's happening on the PS4 side, but Sony is definitely not investing very much in the PlayStation 4 at this point. Pretty much all of their efforts are starting to go to the PlayStation 5. While I don't think this is going to be the last update for the console, I believe really there's going to be many more. I mean, just look at the PlayStation 3. But I do think that it is very interesting to see where they're putting most of their efforts now, and again, that's on the PlayStation 5. You can now access your authorized apps and settings. There's also friends that are active on the PlayStation app will now show up as online on your friends list. And then Unicode 15.0 emoji can now be displayed, and you can see which of the players in your game sessions are on other platforms that support this feature. And by the way, if you are wondering, MasterCore does work with 10.50. I have already tried that out personally. Next, over on some PlayStation 5 news. So the biggest news that I have been seeing pretty much everywhere is that Sony is going to launch a PlayStation 5 with the detachable disk drive. So this comes from Tom Henderson, which is one of the known entities when talking about leaks for Sony. And this article was actually published quite some time ago. It's actually in September, but this is very relevant as of today. Basically, what is going to happen is that all of the current models, such as the digital model and the disc-based model, PlayStation 5, are going to go away. And what they're going to do is they're going to release a PlayStation 5 in September of 2023 that has a detachable disk drive. And one of the nice things about this is that obviously if you opted for just the base PlayStation 5 that launches in September of 2023, then you can add on the disk drive later if you didn't buy it originally. And then there was also an update to the PlayStation 5 software, and this came on 3.14, and it was version 7.01. So in 7.01, basically they fixed an issue that was causing Discord voice chat to disconnect. And you will see that in 7.00, there was all kinds of major features that was added in this update. So like 1440p video output. And you can kind of scroll down through this list and you can see just some of the things that was changed in 7.00, versus if you looked over here on the PlayStation 4. Now, the good news is that for version 7.01, as well as most of these other versions, they have already been decrypted. And there is this mega.nz site that lists all of the different decrypted firmwares for the PlayStation 5. So Control Execute was the person that put this together, so all credits go out to him, or I believe he was the one that did that. So this is something obviously that would be more beneficial for developers, but I will link to it in case you want to take a look at it on your own time. And so next up, we will talk a tiny bit about Nintendo. So there is this mod chip that's called the Pikofly, and it is a mod chip that is based on this RP2040 chip, which is really dirt cheap. You can get these for about $3 to $4, especially if you use sites such as AliExpress. But basically what this is this is a mod chip that will work for really any type of switch that you've got. So from the early V1 switch to obviously all of the new Switch Lites and the OLED switches. Now, from what I understand, it is 7 wires, and it is a little bit difficult to do versus some of the other mods. But over the next coming weeks, you will see this pretty much become more and more perfected. As more people do it, there will probably be better diagrams that's out, and then there will be a whole slew of different videos showing the best approach to doing this mod chip in case you want to do it on your own Switch. And in the very last bit of news, Voltar released this video on how to really unbrick a Wii U with a Raspberry Pi Pico, which again, you can get these chips for about $8 or $10. Now, this video is so nice because you don't have to do anything such as soldering or anything of that nature in order to get back a bricked Wii U. But he details exactly in this video what are the versions that you can fix with his method. Okay, so that is going to do it for this one. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I would absolutely love to have you back here again. With that being said, Michael, out.